Welcome to Past People. To support our channel, please subscribe. The life of Prince Albert Victor, Duke of Clarence and Avondale. He was known as Eddy within his family and was the eldest child of the Prince and Princess of Wales. Despite being second in line to the British throne from birth, he never became King or Prince of Wales due to his untimely death. Eddy had a diverse early life, travelling the world as a Royal Navy cadet and later joining the British Army, though he didn't actively serve. He had 2 unsuccessful courtships before becoming engaged to Princess Victoria, Mary of Teck in late 1891, only to tragically succumb to illness during a major pandemic shortly thereafter. His life has been shrouded in mystery, with speculations about his intellect, sexuality, and mental health. Some unfounded rumours linked him to scandals like the Cleveland Street affair, and even suggested that he might be Jack the Ripper. However, many records disprove these claims. Born prematurely in 1864, Albert Victor was the first child of Prince of Wales and his wife, named after his grandparents, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. Despite his formal title, he was affectionately called Eddy by his family. Albert Victor's early education was alongside his younger brother, Prince George, under the tutelage of John Neil Dalton, starting in 1871. Dalton's rigorous program covered academics, physical activities, and military drills, but Albert Victor's intellectual progress was deemed slow, attributed to an uninspiring teaching. Despite learning Danish and overcoming language barriers, his academic performance remained sluggish. Speculations about the impact of his mother's deafness or physical factors were considered. In 1877, both brothers joined HMS Britannia for naval training, but Albert Victor fell behind due to illness. In 1879, they began a 3-year naval cadet tour on HMS Bacchante, travelling extensively across the British Empire, including stops in the America, the Falkland Islands, and more, even receiving tattoos in Japan. Afterwards, in 1883, Albert Victor and Prince George pursued separate paths. Albert Victor attended Trinity College, Cambridge, where his academic interests waned. He engaged in a social life and made connections with notable figures, but it's unclear if he had any sexual experiences during this time. In 1885, he joined the 10th Hussars, serving in various roles, and despite disliking drilling activities, he enjoyed polo. His academic challenges didn't hinder his promotions, and eventually he became a captain. During this period, his private life was uneventful, despite fellow officers' efforts to introduce him to the world, which he resisted. The Cleveland Scandal. In July 1889, a male brothel in Cleveland Street, London, was uncovered by the Met Police, revealing clients' names, including Lord Arthur Somerset, an extra-equerry to the Prince of Wales. And at the time, all homosexual acts between men were illegal, carrying potential consequences like social exile and up to 2 years hard labour in prison. The scandal implicated high-ranking individuals, sparking rumours that Prince Albert Victor was involved. Though the prostitutes didn't directly implicate him, it's believed Somerset's solicitor, Arthur Newton, may have spread these rumours to divert attention. Reports emerged in December 1889 that the Prince and Princess of Wales received anonymous letters related to the scandal. The Prince of Wales intervened and no clients were prosecuted. Concrete evidence against Albert Victor never emerged. Some speculate about his involvement, but historians found no evidence supporting claims of homosexuality or bisexuality. While English newspapers avoided linking the prince directly to the scandal, international press coverage, particularly in Welsh, colonial and American newspapers, was less restrained. Lord Waterford, Somerset's sister, and Somerset himself denied Albert Victor's involvement, but rumours still persisted. But no one involved in the original case was convicted of perjury or struck off during the Cleveland Street scandal. His Indian tour. In October 1889, Albert Victor embarked on a 7-month tour of British India, a pre-planned journey unrelated to the London scandal rumours. He visited various destinations like Athens, Port Said, Cairo and Aden, arriving in Bombay on the 9th of November 1889. His trip included generous hospitality from many parts of the world. He mostly used trains for travel, occasionally riding ceremonial elephants and engaging in sport hunting. During the trip, he met Mrs. Margery Haddon, who later claimed he was the father of her son, Clarence Haddon. However, her allegations lacked evidence and were dismissed. In the 1920s, Clarence revived the story, but was discredited during his 1934 extortion trial, when documents showed his birth date predated Albert Victor's encounter with Mrs. Haddon by at least 2 years. Albert Victor was granted the titles Duke of Clarence and Avondale and Earl of Athlone of Queen Victoria's 71st birthday, May 24, 1890, but these honours didn't affect the royal line of succession, even if Clarence Haddon's claims were true. Potential brides. In 1889, Queen Victoria, Albert Victor's grandmother, hoped that he would marry his paternal cousin, Princess Alix of Hessen-by-Rhine, who was among her beloved grandchildren. While at Balmoral Castle, he proposed to Alix, but she didn't share his affections and declined his engagement offer. Albert Victor persisted in his efforts to persuade Alix, but eventually gave up in 1890 when she wrote him a letter expressing her inability to marry him, citing her affection for him as a cousin. After the unsuccessful proposal to Alix, Queen Victoria suggested that Albert Victor consider marrying another first cousin, Princess Margaret of Prussia. She conveyed her thoughts on Margaret's suitability for the role of queen in a formal letter to him. However, Albert Victor's mother strongly objected to the idea, and it was ultimately abandoned. During this period, Albert Victor fell in love with Princess Helene of Orleans, but her Roman Catholic faith posed an initial obstacle. Despite Queen Victoria's initial opposition, she eventually supported their marriage plans when they offered concessions. However, Helene's father remained resolute in his refusal, leading to the courtship's end. Albert Victor's affections then turned to Princess Victoria Mary of Teck, the daughter of Queen Victoria's first cousin, Princess Mary Adelaide, Duchess of Teck. Queen Victoria fully supported this match, finding Mary charming, sensible, and attractive. On the 3rd of December 1891, Albert Victor proposed to Mary at Luton Hoo, the Danish ambassador's country residence. Their wedding was scheduled for the 27th of February 1892. In 1891, Albert Victor wrote to Lady Sybil, expressing his love, though he didn't reveal the object of his affection. A week later, he inquired if she had any affection for him, hoping for even a small measure of love. In late 1891, he was linked to Lydia Miller, a former Gaiety Theatre chorus girl, who tragically took her life with carbolic acid. It was suggested that Albert Victor, using Lord Charles Montagu as a front, had urged her to quit the stage. The scandal, akin to the Cleveland Street affair, received overseas press coverage. British regional newspapers quoted the Star, confirming the connection between Albert Victor and Lydia. Rumours later emerged in 1900 posthumously regarding his involvement with another former Gaiety girl, Maud Richardson, with allegations of attempted royal family payoffs. Letters were found later on from Albert Victor mentioning a £200 payment towards the family. Around mid-1890, Albert Victor was treated by multiple doctors, referred to as having fever or gout in correspondence. Some speculate he may have had a mild venereal disease like gonorrhea, potentially recurring from an earlier episode, though the exact ailment remains uncertain. In 1892, at the age of 28, Albert Victor fell ill during a pandemic and died from pneumonia. His death deeply affected his family, particularly his mother, Princess Alexandra, his younger brother, Prince George, who later married Princess Mary of Teck, his fiancée, and became King George V in 1910. Albert Victor's tomb, designed by Alfred Gilbert, is a remarkable sculpture in the Albert Memorial Chapel near St George's Chapel, Windsor Castle. His legacy remains marked by fascination and intrigue, as his life continues to be a subject of historical interest and debate.